Internet and the Law Online Week 2 Assignment Spam. Hot Design Express is a small marketing and product design consultancy for salon and product owners in the hair and beauty industry. The market Hot Design Express targets is primarily small and mid-sized African American based salons as well as owners of hair and beauty product lines with local and national patronages. Hot Design Express practices a demand based brand visibility and lead generation methodology. The majority of campaign focus is devoted to content marketing and funnel driven outreach in the form of influencer engagement and social media based consumer audience engagement. A great deal of communication is required to forge relationships with both influencers, customers, and potential customers following funnel driven lead nurturing systems. Knowing the importance of being effective in this area of a campaign while following best practice is of concern to Hot Design Express. Hot Design Express is of the belief that a spam based marketing strategy is not of any effective benefit as a marketing strategy because it is not demand based in nature. Through keyword strategy, demand can be assessed within the scope of content objectives ranging from email opt ins to choosing the best influencers for a portion of a marketing funnel. Since spam is not demand based, meaning that it is sent without request to the recipient, it does not contribute to a positive experience for the brand's engagement. Besides being against the law in some cases, spam can have other unwelcome side effects, like lawsuits, which can affect ROI as well as brand sentiment. The bad results of spam based campaigns include ISP discontinuance of service, lost clientele, and fines of various sorts. Communication is essential to establish and maintain beneficial relationships. In order for it not to be considered spam, it is important to recognize the difference and how to comply lawfully while running a marketing campaign. The Can Spam Act was signed into law by President Bush on December 16, 2003. The Controlling the Assault of Non-Solicited Pornography in Marketing Act has a list of requirements that are designed to thwart the abundance of unwanted email the general population receives. In a proposed solution to the overwhelming complaint level about spam emails, Can Spam defines a commercial electronic mail message as any electronic mail message the primary purpose of which is the commercial advertisement or promotion of a commercial product or service, including content on an internet website operated for a commercial purpose. It exempts transactional or relational messages. It is important to note, too, that the law does not ban spam across the board, but establishes a framework from which those that feel they are victims of spam can draw from. This law defines three methods of compliance that are supposed to protect the consumer from misleading marketing pitches sent without request. They are: 1. Unsubscribed compliance. This is composed of a way to unsubscribe, opt out requests that are executed within a 10-day period, and opt out lists that are ethically used and acted on. Two is the content compliance, which is composed of truthful email source author notices, non deceptive subject lines, physical addresses that are real and from an actual party that's sending the message, and proper notice of adult subject matter. Number three is the sending behavior compliance. That's composed of messages that must have an unsubscribe option, email addresses that must be legally acquired, the header on messages that must be authentic, and the body of the messages that must contain at least one sentence. As stated earlier, the Canned Spam Act does not ban all spam in a nod to free speech. But in an article on spam, the First Amendment writes, the Washington Post had this to say: Jeremy James, who in 2003 became the first man convicted of felony spamming, appealed his conviction on the grounds that the 10 million ads he sent for sham products were, in fact, protected by the First Amendment. Virginia's Supreme Court initially disagreed with him, but later reversed its own ruling. Bulk anonymous emails, the court concluded, could sometimes be vehicles for protected speech. The statement was said to have was set the statement was said to set the discussion around the fairness of spam blocking. Is it suppression of speech? And who decides what is blocked and why? In the ruling made, the judge stated that sending email to anonymous recipients, especially political or religious speech, is still protected under the First Amendment. These positions have caused heated debate because opponents of the ruling contend that email server is a private property being infringed on and therefore should not be subjected to unwanted intrusions in the form of unsolicited messages. It would seem that the laws can vary from state to state. In the case of United States versus Smallwood, James versus Virginia was called an exception, and criminal charges were levied against the defendant based on the disruptive nature and the harm done by the spam delivery. This is resultant of violations of the Canned Spam Act criminal provisions, and so generally spam is spam except under a slim margin of circumstances. Criminal liability for spamming is very necessary in today's climate of hypercapitalism on the internet. Without any structure or deterrent, spam could mushroom into a detrimental phenomena that bring down efficiency of servers and commerce with an overwhelming volume. The Department of Justice is authorized to carry out punishment for spamming that includes fines of up to $11,000 for each offense. The imprisonment is another consequence that the Department of Justice can impose on offenders of the Canned Spam Act depending on the severity of the offense. Hot Design Express engages in demand based marketing strategies that keep quality customer engagement experiences at the forefront of every campaign. Much of the campaign is email based and therefore could be interpreted as spam if not executed properly. By complying with the spam rules mentioned earlier, bad experiences can be avoided to shed positive light on a marketing campaign. Using keyword strategy in a word space most relevant to the section of the marketing funnel being focused on, keywords meeting the volume and the competition level required are used for content. This content is optimized and repurposed for multiple channels and are attached to calls of action that help the consumer audience members complete their chosen tasks. By using keyword driven content in the form of stories, videos, infographics, etc., campaign is more inbound oriented and less disruptive to the consumer experience. Any emails that are sent in full compliance with the Canned Spam Act, and the lists are derived from legally acquired methods such as opt ins.